Hello and welcome to ShowPod once again with Mr. P, Mr. Dave, Mr. Jethro, gentlemen. And I was going to say I'd brought biscuits, but we have kind of nearly eat all the biscuits
Nearly
now
finished them already.
while we've been setting up. But I did bring biscuits this week.
You
I think
did,
that's worth
yeah.
a mention.
You're going to need a bigger biscuit barrel.
How's everybody been?
Yeah, all right.
Oh, it's all right. Yeah,
That's a
yeah,
really
then,
polite response, isn't it? Yeah, all right. Yeah, not bad. Oh, not bad. We're talking Andor this time.
Andor what? Yes.
It's back on the screens. It's Series 2's going really well, Dave.
yeah, it's well underway.
You've watched
At the time of recording, I should say.
Yeah. At the time of recording, yes, we're sort of midway, or 3/4 of the way, midway through Series 2. Midway.
Yeah,
And it's shaping up quite nicely.
yeah,
It's obviously going to run into, they've said that this is going to run into Rogue One.
yeah.
So it'll finish as they go into the film Rogue One, which obviously we've already had, you know what I mean?
The formings of the rebellion, isn't it? And
Yeah, and you can
all that
you
coming
can
together.
see, because it like Series 2 is a year later after Series 1 ended.
yeah,
And they've kind of got a little bit more organisation now
yeah,
and more people working for them. But at the same time, you know, they're not, their efforts are not going completely unnoticed, are they?
no.
The Empire are still doing all their bad stuff, and they're sort of worming out who this rebellion is,
Yeah,
and they keep making steps to find them, and that's interesting.
although especially even more, I would say in season 2, they're not quite as overtly bad as you sometimes see the Empire being. There's kind of an element that brought into season 2 where they're actually, as far as they're concerned, in their way, they're trying to do the right thing and they're trying to think about stuff. But
Yeah,
But everyone thinks they're doing the right thing. I mean, to take it to its extreme, did Hitler believe he was evil?
probably not.
No, that he would have genuinely believed he was doing the right thing. Which probably is a more realistic depiction of a dictatorship, isn't it?
Sorry, I was going to start getting political then, and we don't normally get
don't wanna do
political
that.
on here. I was going to say, you said a depiction of, and I was going to go American politics, but no, we're not going to go there.
Oh, I think we will later. Yeah.
We will
That's
later.
next episode.
So, yeah, I think for the most part, the Empire, most people working for the Empire just think they're working for this big organisation that wants to bring order to the galaxy and you know, make everything nice for everybody. But you've got these clusters of people that know exactly what's going on. And there's a lot more mentions of the Emperor
Yeah, getting that a lot more now.
coming in, which is interesting.
Yeah, everybody's trying to appease him. Everybody's trying to do their own little bits of one-up over each other and things like that. And there's a lot of infighting within the different groups.
But you've got episodes where you can quite clearly see that people that work for the Empire are not good.
Yeah,
You know, so we've had and was it episode 2 or 3 of Series 2, where it finally goes back with the ship,
yeah,
and the Empire are doing checks on people, and it's. You do get in that episode because the guy tries to rape her, doesn't he? So it's like clearly he's one of those military people that knows what they're doing is wrong, really, but he's doing it anyway.
I think that's the thing, isn't it? With that, like we were saying, there's kind of the people that are just there doing a job that don't realise they're really doing anything bad or anything wrong. They're just bringing order to the galaxy, and then you've got the bad eggs in there that are actually quite bad people and are not quite right in the head and are doing bad things.
Yeah, episode 3, Harvest, it was.
It's like when you compare it to, let's face it, the Empire is comparable to the Nazis, especially with their aesthetic and their overtly fascistic nature. during World War II, the Allies had a particular view on the German military, that they saw them as, well, that they're essentially just the regular people. And then you compare it to the SS, the Schutzstaffen. They saw those as the genuine evil people, because you don't just get conscripted into the SS. Like, you had to want to go into it. And considering things that they've done, that is, yeah, definitely an indictment on their character.
I mean, we talked about the bad eggs within the Empire, and that's kind of like going back to what you were saying about the Nazis and that group, about like you got these people that were like really good with like science or medical stuff, that were doing really dodgy bad experiments and torturing people and doing some pretty nasty things for, you know, what they were saying was development and science, but it was actually quite cruel, evil, bad stuff.
Yeah, like Werner von Braun, who developed the V2 rocket, although more people died making the rocket than people on the receiving end of the rocket. And there's no way he would have not known about the atrocities caused, which is sort of sullies the reputation or the image one may have of NASA, considering, you know, he built the Saturn V rocket.
Yeah.
But anyway,
Anyway, let's come back to Andor for a minute.
Yeah.
And the
We
actual...
get stuck in the 1940s.
That's it. So Cassian Andor as a character, then. I like his character development from series 1 through all of it, from sort of no not guidance, no direction, to having this purpose, and he's not quite there yet.
No.
What's been released so far, he's getting closer.
He's kind of that unlikely hero, isn't he?
Yeah, he's not a leader yet.
Yeah,
but he's getting there. And
he's trying to do the right things as he deems the right things for certain people and helping out, but not. I don't think he's full in with the full Republic against the Empire yet, is he?
And let's face it, he's had quite a few trials, hasn't he? Which I think builds character anyway. You know, his mother, such that she was, died. And although that was more natural than anything else, you pair that with the fact that he got embroiled with those two guards and ended up killing them. Then he got imprisoned. And all these things are sort of creating this character that we know from Rogue One.
Yeah.
It'd be interesting to watch all of this and then go into Rogue One afterwards.
With
that might be quite fun.
Yeah, with that kind of knowledge and see the bigger picture before you go into the movie. Yeah, that'd be quite interesting.
I'm doing a rewatch at the minute of Clone Wars.
Yeah.
I've never watched the whole lot. And that's just really strange to see sort of the good guys, I suppose, on massive destroyers and things, because you're normally used to seeing the Empire on big destroyers and things, so it's kind of strange. In fact, just talking about Clone Wars, Hayden Christensen was asked in an interview recently whether he would come back with Ewan McGregor as Kenobi and do some Clone Wars stuff, live action, whether they'd look at that period of time and do a little bit. And he did say, "Oh, I'd love to come back and do that."
Yeah, I think it's another one of them things, isn't it? If the script's right and the money's right, then they'll do it, won't they? And especially with something that they're liked and loved in, that's very popular and that's continually building. Why would you not want to be part of it?
Just before we go further, we did bring a feature back this series called Geeky Guys Favourites. So I'm going to tell you what the favourite question is for this video, so you can be thinking about it, and we'll come to it at the end.
Yes, good idea.
So this Geeky Guys favourite is, what's your favourite outfit, costume or piece of clothing from someone from film or TV? And now a word from our sponsors. Are you looking to take your business or idea online? Then Namespace has you covered. From personal websites, e-commerce and fully managed IT services, see what Namespace can do for you. To find out more, go to namespace.rocks.
I do. On that subject, there's been a rumour that we might see Darth Vader before the end of Andor season 2.
Yeah,
It'll be interesting to see if that'll happen.
I think it's possible, but if it is, it'll only be a glimpse.
Probably.
Because when Rogue One happened, the film, well, when they brought out Rogue One, obviously we saw Vader right at the end as a teaser, which led into A New Hope.
Yeah.
Because I forget the actor who played Vader in Rogue One. He's gone out of my head completely. I don't know. I'm looking at you guys, drawing a blank. But he watched all of the original trilogy, the original films, to get the movement and the walk of David Prowse's Vader.
Yeah.
To match it, and when you actually watch the bit with Vader in Rogue One, it really does look. And they've matched it with the Vader from the original trilogy.
Yeah.
They've added a lot more Force stuff and CGI to it, but the way he moves his lightsaber, it's very mirrored, which is nice. I love that.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I love that.
I mean, obviously, we've had the mentions of the Emperor, and there was a kind of thought of, are we potentially going to see him? But I'm not sure that we will do. I think it is just going to be kind of the dark figure in the background.
I don't think. No, I don't think you need to.
to.
I think if we do see him, it'll be on a computer screen or a video screen somewhere. There'll be a
Coming up as a hologram
or whatever. I don't think we'll see him in person. I don't think he.
Yeah,
You don't need to. You just need to see the Emperor.
No,
when
it
you
doesn't
watch
add
this.
anything to the material, does it? We know.
I don't think
the
so.
Emperor is and all that.
It'd be funny now if that's the bit they put at the end. Instead of Vader, they give you the Emperor after we've just said that. It'd be quite funny.
But then again, like, you compare it to other Star Wars stuff, it is very grounded. In terms of vibe, it's also very different. It's seen as the one that's more for adults. It's the more grown-up one. What do you guys think to that?
Yeah, it probably is. It probably is the darker, probably more adult series, I think, isn't it, that we've had out there on Disney Plus and the Star Wars universe.
Yeah, I think so. I mean, the subject matter,
Yeah, which it kind of makes sense, because if the Empire is going to be a stand-in for a fascist dictatorship, do you really want to just introduce that and just leave it like that? Or do you want to actually get into it and say, why are these bad? Or why does the resistance resist, instead of just be like, yeah, just
you can't put something bad on the screen and then have unicorns and rainbows. It just
No.
You need to explain why, and that's where the interesting things happen. Like, and with like more the nuance, with the more like political aspect, you could argue, and to know, well, like I said, why the heroes are doing what they're doing. That makes more for compelling drama, and in order to have less simplified villains.
I think as we get into series 2, the pacing's certainly a little bit better.
Yeah.
We've got all these characters now that are pretty established in our minds.
Yeah.
But also their storylines and their sort of journeys, we're going along with them now, and we're into it.
Yeah. I would say that the beginning of series 2 was a bit slower. There was a lot of establishing stuff and setting stuff up that took a bit of a while. But I think kind of from sort of episode 4 onwards, it's kind of picked up now, and the pace is a lot better.
I prefer that.
The slower stuff.
Yeah, because especially with Star Wars stuff, like, it's very much like it's trying to get to like the inciting incident within the first episode, and like, well, you've got a whole season to work with. Like,
when you bear
it
in
respects the audience when it comes to their attention.
When you bear in mind you're looking at 44 minutes, 51 minutes, 53 minutes an episode.
Yeah.
They're like mini films. And an IMDb rating of nothing less than 7.5 for any of the episodes so far of series 2.
Yeah.
Which is beats series 1, because some are a bit lower in series 1.
Good.
People are liking this.
Yeah, I think as I said to you, I think my only criticism would be, the whole like wedding stuff with Senator Mothma and stuff kind of went on a little bit and didn't add a lot to the material, particularly for the overall arc of the series. So that went on maybe a little bit too long, but that would probably be the only criticism that I could pick out, I think.
Yeah, you could. I mean, I suppose you could take. You could have took out a little bit and made it a little bit shorter, but I think we had this discussion on a Doctor Who group call recently. We just watched an original series episode, Dalek, and we kind of said on that one, you could have, if you put it together as a one full story, you could have took out quite a bit of that in the middle. It was just filler,
stuff,
and it would still be a really good episode. And I suppose you could say that with anything though. We have this all the time when we talk about deleted scenes, and I say the same thing every single time, which is keep them in. For me, I like them. Jethro's looking at me as if to say,
It depends.
Depends on what it is, doesn't it? But I think the nice thing we've had this series, I think you're just about up to where I'm up to, I think. So we've had Leia Organa's stepfather in it, which is quite nice. And in the last episode I watched, we also had a Force sensitive as well.
I've not seen that one.
It was quite interesting. Because they'd not really explored the Force much in the Andor series at all. But they did have a nice little bit in the last episode I watched, in episode 7, where Cassian actually comes into contact with the Force sensitive, and she's sensing stuff about him and about his path.
I think you're just one ahead of me, actually.
Yeah,
maybe we're not quite up to date. You're one ahead of me, but they're not going to bring too much in.
No, don't need to.
Because don't forget, at this point, there are no Jedi. Technically, Yoda's in hiding still, isn't it? It's all,
Yeah, Obi-Wan's still in hiding.
Yeah.
So when you say Force sensitive, that's more of like a euphemistic sort of thing, isn't it?
It means they don't use the Force to control things as much as they use it to feel things.
Yeah, but still euphemistic.
Senses and feelings, isn't it, really?
Yeah, you can sense something's wrong. You can, you can use it for that sort of thing, but you don't tend to use it for throwing things across a room or jumping 6 feet into the air and doing a somersault or whatever. Although Leia is obviously Force sensitive, although she does use it in the film to get herself back to the ship.
Yeah.
But it's the only time we see her use it to do that. But she's Force sensitive because she knows when Luke dies and so on. So, yeah.
So question with that, with season 2 being the last season of Andor, are we going to get more Star Wars material that is aimed more to an older audience?
Well, we're gonna get series 2 of Ahsoka.
I wouldn't class that as that though.
No, I wouldn't.
I think generally speaking, it's been the animated stuff that's been more directed towards a younger audience, hasn't it? Most of the live action has been more connected to the rest of the main universe and been more adult.
But specifically Andor, because the way I'd see it is like Rebels will be for kids mainly. A lot of the other animated stuff, again, kids. Then you've got...
Just interject, say that. But a lot of the storylines in those animated shows are quite adult in nature.
True.
And
true.
I mean, the whole Clone Wars is literally wars.
Yes.
But isn't that a lot of the time, a lot of the best kids' entertainment where it's actually aimed higher than what their age actually is and tells them about things that maybe they shouldn't learn
I admit Rebels is more of a younger audience show.
Fair point. But still, then you've got like your meant for just shotgun to everybody, like your Mandalorian, your Obi-Wan Kenobi, and all the other ones, and Ahsoka. Yeah. Then you've got Andor, which I would say, if I did watch that when I was 10 years old, I would feel alienated by it, because it would be one of those things that I'd be like, oh, okay, that's just a bit... I don't know, there's something about it. But looking at it now, it's like, okay, this is a bit more subtle. It treats the audience more like grown-ups as opposed to, let's say, I know when we watched the first episode of Acolyte, and the bit that made me turn off the whole thing was the scene where one of the characters goes to the main character and just says, "Oh yeah, how are you feeling? You know, after your mother died and that." And like, who would say that? Who would say that? Oh yeah, how are you feeling after that traumatic thing where your mother died and your family died and everyone you loved died? Yeah, how are you feeling about that? I hate it when films do that. So I
that was the
completely
point
turned
you
off.
turned off then. That was it.
Yeah, I turned off Acolyte after that. I know people moaned about it for other stuff, but I turned off of that because of that. With Andor, it's a lot more understated. There's a lot more subtlety.
Yeah.
And when I say a lot more subtlety, it actually has subtlety. It's not just heavily handed like, oh
Straight
yeah,
in your face.
you have a tragic backstory. Oh no, you have, because all main characters have to have a tragic backstory. Blah, blah,
I
blah,
think
blah,
everybody in Andor has a tragic backstory.
yeah, but that
nearly.
fits. That fits. It's not having like your hero character put into a situation. Oh yeah, by the way, your mum died.
No.
No,
It's the world they live in as well, so it fits.
There's a character I do want to talk about in a minute, just to get your take on it. But before we do that,
We ought to talk about missteps as well. Would we say that probably Acolyte and Book of Boba Fett are probably the two that didn't quite hit the mark, maybe, whereas all the others generally have?
I did watch them all and I enjoyed them all, but I know there was. We'll come to it in a moment. First, what we're going to do is we're going to go to a quiz. So we're going to put your minds not together but against each other in a battle of wits as we head over to our Geeky Guys quiz to see who is going to take the trophy home this week. By the way, there is no trophy, but there we are.
No trophy?
No trophy. No.
Oh. Well, how long do you have before you can get us one?
Well, we'll see how good you are this series and see if we get one for next series.
He's not going to do it, is he?
Lucky if we get biscuits, now mine trophies.
Before I get completely and utterly in trouble, let's go to the quiz. Here we go, gentlemen. It's time for another quiz.
Oh, it's that time again, isn't it?
That time again. Please bear with me today. My questions are all over the page. All over the place. The page and everything. Okay, here we go.
It's not worrying at all, is it?
It's not, no. It's question number 1. In Doctor Who, John Pertwee took over the TARDIS in what year?
1970.
It was 1970.
It's January 3rd, was it?
I didn't write the full date down. It's 70 to 74, but I didn't write the full date down, but I can't remember exactly what it is. Question number 2. In 2001 A Space Odyssey, the actor Keir Dullea plays who?
HAL 5000?
No.
Dave?
It is Dave. Yeah.
Okay.
I thought Dave would get that, being he's Dave, so I thought he was going to say Dave. It is Dr. Dave, is it Bonan? I think it is. Question number 3. In Star Wars, the Millennium Falcon is what type of ship?
Oh, Carillion freighter?
I'm going to give it.
It's something like that.
Well, yeah, Carillion light freighter. I'm going to give you.
freighter,
It's actually YT1300 light freighter, but it's Carillion made. A highly modified Carillion design.
I remember that in the YT. I couldn't remember.
That's right. Yeah, Carillion light freighter. I'll give you that one. In Back to the Future, what's the name of the device that Doc adds to the time machine so that he doesn't have to use radioactive power?
Flux capacitor?
No, that's not the answer I'm looking for.
No? Okay.
What's hilariously funny about this is I literally mentioned this earlier on in the car to Mr. Dave. And we laughed at the joke. And you can't remember, can you?
No.
Oh, it was that funny then, wasn't it?
It's like something like Mr. Flux or something, isn't it? But I know
It is
Mr.
something like that.
But, what is it?
I'll give 5 more seconds. I'm going to have to call it.
What is it? Completely went in there.
So the answer you were looking for was Mr. Fusion.
That's it. Damn it. It's not coming to me, that.
Okay, there we go.
Fusion.
Never mind. Question 5. In Jurassic Park, Richard Attenborough plays which character?
John Hammond.
He does play John Hammond. True or false?
Ooh.
Star Trek The Next Generation, just before it came out, Picard was going to have to wear, Patrick Stewart was going to have to wear a wig. Is that true or false?
True.
Jethro got the first, and it is true. And the pictures look hilarious if you've ever seen them. It just does not look, it just looks weird. It's weird. It looks like some kind of weird late 60s. It looks like it's been filmed in the 70s, doesn't it, with that wig on?
Who knows? That history might have turned out different. It would not be boldly going.
No, indeed not. In Lois and Clark, The New Adventures of Superman, who played Lois Lane?
Terry Hatcher.
It was Terry Hatcher. Patrick Troughton played the second Doctor in Doctor Who and was famous for playing what musical instrument? Dave just got there.
Recorder.
It's a recorder. Okay. Dave, if you get this correct, you have won the quiz this time. If
No
Jethro
pressure.
gets this correct, it's a tie. Okay.
The stakes.
I know.
High.
It's tense. You're tense. I'm tense. We're all tense. Which is, of course, a line from Red Dwarf. But can you tell me what year it first aired, please? Jethro's in there.
1984.
No.
No.
You rushed in. The year.
1987.
Is it closest wins?
It will go closest wins. It was 88, Dave.
88.
But you did get it.
It was
One
87 or
away.
88,
Which means you just took it. Whoa.
Only just. It was a close one.
Yes.
Well done.
We got quite a lot of answers in that one. Did I make them too easy? I don't know.
I should have got
Wow.
Mr. Fusion. It was.
I know, we joked
It was
about
in
it
there.
earlier. Anyway, well, yeah, great. Back to show play. Well, there we go, gentlemen. Mr. Dave takes the crown this time.
GG.
We'll put the scores on the board and see how we progress through the rest of the series. You needed that one, Dave, because I think
Yes.
Jethro's winning at the moment 2 quizzes to 1.
You have a board.
It's a metaphysical board.
A board. He's
A
got a graph.
hypothetical board. It's a chart. Let's see what it's done to the chart. Yeah, no, that's good. So you needed that. We need another one to equalise. So we'll see what happens next time.
To be the equaliser.
So what we're going to do is I want to talk about Cyril real quick from Andor. So I think his character development is really good.
Yeah.
He kind of starts as this kind of officer who is one of those characters where if he gets some grit in his teeth or a bee in his bonnet, he really wants to follow it through. He can't let things go. So the death of the 2 officers, he's like, no, we've got to investigate. Oh, we've got to do it. We've got to the point where he ends up losing his job. And it kind of knocks him down a peg or two, but that just spurs him on even further.
Yeah.
And now we get to series 2. He's obviously hooked up with, the very person of whom he was sharing information, in series 1, which I thought was interesting, putting them together. I'm not sure I would have done that. I'm trying to find her name, so I can't
Was
remember.
it Dedra?
Yeah, it is Dedra Miro. And I think that's interesting because she really didn't want anything to do with him to start with. Now, is she just using him? That's the question.
It's a very strange relationship, isn't it? It doesn't quite feel right.
No, she definitely wears the trousers in that relationship. And now, of course, she sends him off on a secret mission.
Off to Gorman.
Yeah, and he's obviously like a secret agent now, and he's actually very good at it, which is like, he's not incompetent at all.
No.
He's actually quite good, and he's uncovering the plots, and they're trusting him.
Like you say, he's one of those people that goes out and does this stuff. But you kind of get the impression about him that because he does question stuff. Is he going to be one of them that like eventually moves away from the Empire potentially and isn't too happy about what he's being asked to do?
Maybe. I don't know. I'm still on the fence. I don't know.
Could go either way.
Who's your favourite character from Andor so far? Just curious.
There's a lot of good people in there. I mean, obviously there's Cassian, there's Luthen.
See, I like Luthen as a character.
Yeah.
I think you've got this guy who's like, nice.
Big Sue's actually stronger than you actually think she is.
Oh, yeah.
And, just goes out and does these really hardcore missions and then just goes out and plays the house, almost like the housewife Cassian, but she's more than able to go out and do these gritty, dark, violent missions as well.
Well, I think Luthen's... We've seen him as this character who is spurring them on and come on, we can make a difference. We can stop the Empire sort of thing. But I think he's the one that's going to go too far later on, I think.
I think he's an extremist.
I think he could turn out to be.
I mean, they've been after him and Cassie and the rest of them since Ferrix, haven't they? And they're stealing the part of the ship.
Right, back in Series 1. But he...
You'd always think he's like one slight misstep from being caught.
Well, he's a character where he plays two parts, doesn't he? So he's like in high society, he's got the wig on, he deals
the
in
antique
antiques,
stealer and stuff.
And everyone knows him, and he's got a particular guise.
Yeah.
But then you take that off, and he's this almost a Han Solo kind of travel around and a bit of a wrong un. And
bit of a rogue, bit of a smuggler, type of feeling about him.
But I get the feeling he wouldn't bat an eyelid about sending someone to die for the cause. And if you're going to do that with one person, you'll do that with more than one person.
Yeah.
If you're with more than one person, and it goes on and on.
Always handy that he's got a lot of people to do all these different jobs for him as well.
I think it's called dirty work. Dave.
Yeah.
They
go out and do the old dirty work and wet work for him, don't they?
Well,
and he has that poor girl in his shop just listening to communications all day, every day.
She's a lot cleverer than you think, and she's obviously the one that keeps him in line a little bit. I think, and that's
she kind of controls how information gets to him and what she tells him and what she doesn't, doesn't she?
I think she probably does tell him most things, but. I mean, we had the episode where the bugs they're going to check the ark because it was something's discovered as fake.
There's a listening
and they've
device
they've bugged one of the pieces, so they have to go and get it out. And I liked that as an idea. I think that episode dragged a bit, like you said, but I think I like the idea that he's got these bugs all over that he could just put in art pieces. But it's a very dangerous thing because his whole little empire could come crashing down.
Gets found and get back to him, and he's in trouble.
Andor really works as a TV series. Some don't. You mentioned just before we went to the quiz, Book of Boba Fett, which I don't think it was as such bad. I just think it was unnecessary.
Yeah.
It just wasn't needed. And this
the character and the story
probably
weren't strong enough, was it?
Yeah, we say, oh, it'd be cool if they did that. And Jethro's like, yeah, but do we need to do that? Is there a need for that story to be told? And I think in this case there wasn't.
Probably not. No.
And I think part of the reason why is because he comes across as quite weak in this series. You're always used to him walking on the screen and just being the big bad, and kind of wasn't. And it just kind of was a mistake.
It was okay and petered out pretty much.
Yeah.
I mean, I'd say the same for Obi-Wan Kenobi. Like, it was just bloated and just too long.
I honestly think they did Kenobi because the fans wanted it.
Yeah, they were going to do a movie after Solo, but because Solo did poorly because no one wanted it, they cancelled that. But then when they realised, oh wait, no, there's the pandemic where people can watch it at home, plus we're launching our streaming service so we can have a streaming series.
Yeah.
We can do it as that, but instead of being a condensed 2-hour film, it ended up being this way padded out 6-episode thing. And it again, just so much in there that we just didn't need. Just
the big thing with
slim it down.
Yeah, the big thing with that was the whole thing about bringing Ewan McGregor and Hayden Christensen back together.
That worked really well.
Have them go against each other again.
But do we need all the stuff around it? Like, it's all well and good having these nuggets, but if it's encased in slop,
Yeah, you could have. I think again, you could have done some edits there and cut a bit out that you didn't need. I liked the story, and I thought it was nice to tell it. Did we need to tell it? Maybe not. You can say that about any story.
Yeah.
I liked it. I think because it's always been this interesting. What did Kenobi do? He goes off, and that's it. You don't see him till it's Alec Guinness in A New Hope. Well, what happened in between? There must be some stories there that it wouldn't have just, And I think it's interesting to delve in and have a little look at that.
I think he did have the fact that Ewan McGregor could carry it, and because he was a popular character, a popular actor playing Obi-Wan in the prequels, I think there was just enough interest there for it not to be a total flop, because you got a big main character in there from the Star Wars universe that was playing it really well, that was bringing people back from the old stuff, and I think that was probably just enough to lift it to a decent point.
I liked it because it shows how powerful Obi-Wan really is. And, I mean, he beat Vader. Well, he beat Anakin.
Yeah.
And he could have absolutely destroyed him.
Yeah.
He was that powerful.
And you get to that point as well, don't you, which is quite nice, where at the end, where he's broken the mask.
Yeah.
And you kind of, you get that realisation from, Obi-Wan that, his old friend isn't there anymore and he's completely gone and completely twisted and he's not coming back. I think that was kind of interesting to link those 2 points from where he's left, burning and defeated, but he's still, his friend Anakin to a bit later on, and he's completely changed.
Yeah.
It's linked well into him becoming Vader, probably.
Yeah. I mean, there was talk about doing more Kenobi. I hope they do, actually. It'd be nice to delve back into that.
When in the end they had him going off with Qui-Gon Jinn, didn't they, with Liam Neeson? With the Force Ghost.
And that's interesting because obviously then you didn't really get a lot of Force Ghosts and that kind of thing. And when all the Jedi, when Yoda and everyone goes into hiding, they kind of, it's intimated that there's more abilities that they could have and they need to train themselves and to get them. And he finally now gets that ability to commune with other past Jedi.
Well, they say as well, that's the other point that links into I don't know if it's New Hope or Empire Strikes Back, but the bit where Vader strikes Obi-Wan down.
Yeah, so A New Hope.
Yeah, and it's become more powerful than you can ever imagine. And that's kind of linked to the training he's had with Qui-Gon Jinn before then.
Yeah, because he knows he's going to become at one with the Force and become a Force Ghost and help Luke.
Yeah.
It's time. Earlier on, I asked you what your favourite piece of clothing, costume, or garment is from film or TV. What are our thoughts? Silence.
There's a lot, isn't there?
You see, it's a really big open question, and I did that on purpose because I think it's an interesting question. If I'd have just said, "Oh, what's your favourite superhero thing?" Or what's your favourite coat? We've done these before, I think, Dave. But I just thought I'd keep it open just to see what's your favourite at the moment because things change.
I think probably for me, it probably goes towards the more simple costumes rather than the flamboyant ones, the ones that you could go and put on yourself and go out and it'd be completely fine to walk out in the street.
Ninth Doctor.
Ninth Doctor, obviously Michael Knight, and then you've got people like Ace Rimmer from Red Dwarf, things like that. They're all things that you could wear that'd be, people wouldn't blink out, just classes.
So at the minute, your favourite type of costume at the moment would be something that would be dead easy to cosplay together really quick and
something that's quite easily slipped on, not something that's too flamboyant and needs a lot of stuff putting together, I suppose.
What's your thoughts, Mr. Jethro?
I don't know.
Okay. Well, thanks for joining us.
It'd been funny, though, if it had gone, Mr. P from Showpod Series 1, Episode 4. I like the outfit you went for there.
It's the same Geeky guy stuff. It's a classic. Black never goes out of fashion, does it?
Never.
Although I do really blend into the sofas here. We've got black leather sofas if you're only listening, and we do blend in. My favourite costume. I quite like Matt Smith's Doctor, the later versions of his costume, which I thought was quite nice.
One with the more purpley.
Yeah.
coat. Yeah.
I quite liked that. But
He was very tweed, wasn't he?
Yeah, to start with.
Mm.
But I don't know. I thought about this question the other day because watching Doctor Who and Ncuti Gatwa's outfit seems to change every episode now. You don't have like a standard Doctor outfit. It's just.
Oh, they need to sell more action figures.
Yes, they do.
27
we're
different
cynical.
ones.
Yeah. 40 available. Collect them all. I remember thinking, when you become the Doctor, you kind of have that conversation. What's your Doctor going to wear?
Mm.
And his conversation must have been, I like that, but I like that. I'll wear them all. And yeah, it just made me think of the question.
But then again, I suppose, why would you go out with the same thing on all the time? If you got the TARDIS, it could create any clothes for you from any era, from any planet, whatever. I suppose you would change it up a bit, wouldn't you?
Well, not for most at 50 years, Dave, no. You just don't. That's the Doctor's outfit, that's what he wears, and he just wanders around the universe in it.
But does it make a lot of sense, though? That's what I'm saying. Is that why they maybe went this way in this series, or the last couple of series?
Maybe. I like the fact that he just wanders around in his own costume, in his own outfit, and you know.
Then again, maybe after like 16 generations, you want to change things up a bit.
Maybe, yeah. And just to put it out there, because, you know, I've got to bring Superman into everything.
There we go.
Yeah, there it is, and there it is.
If you're going to pick a Superman costume, it's got to be the original 78 Superman outfit, just to put that out there.
What about your favourite... So I'm taking your job now.
No, go on.
Yeah, your favourite sci-fi military uniform.
Ooh. Got one. It's the brown coats from Firefly.
Okay.
Because they end up being not a military uniform, and he wears his jacket all the time later on, and it just looks like Space Cowboy.
What's yours, Dave?
Yeah,
one?
I'm glad you asked that, because that's a good answer.
Mm.
I like that.
I don't know, it's either the jumpsuits they're wearing Star Trek Enterprise.
Ah.
Yeah.
Or...
I liked the... I'm wearing sort of chino, great beige chinos today, but I quite liked the desert gear that they wear, which is like the cargo pants and the like the cream top with the decals on and the caps. I think that's quite cool because it's when you're talking military, they're very much like desert military type costumes, which I think kind of works. And it's in no other show do they really change the outfit to go to a planet. Going forwards, it's always just the uniform.
Yeah, it made sense because like there was them starting out.
But yeah,
my other answer will be the officers' uniforms for the Colonial Fleet in Battlestar, because it's like the Monster Maroons but blue, and just like blue. And they have the rank on there. You have like the buttons. It's simple, but
simple gets the job done.
Yeah. And just blue in it. Go on, what's yours?
I suppose I have to go for the Anglican Marines from Doctor Who.
Ah, okay.
Oh, okay.
See, for me, they just look like Marines, to be fair.
But yeah, Andor.
Yes. What are they going to replace it with in their lineup?
That's what I'm asking.
That's kind of
because
like
I asked
you
a
said
bit
earlier. That's what I want to bring it back
Andor
to.
what?
Yeah.
Series 2 will end. Andor what?
Andor what next?
Andor what next? Series 2 will disappear, and
Yes.
that obviously that then leads into Rogue One. We've said we've got Ahsoka Series 2.
But the ones for adults, not just shotgun to everybody.
We've got the Mandalorian movie coming out, haven't we? But obviously that's not going to be another series.
Have they confirmed it's definitely a movie?
Yes.
Yeah, it is a movie, yeah.
So is that the movie Ahsoka's going to die in? That's the question, because that could be Andor. We know she's got to die, so it's when.
Maybe they do another Obi-Wan series, like you said. Maybe they continue that.
But another Andor.
It's more adult themed. You're thinking, because Kenobi, although Kenobi was more rounded. It was more generic, more open to everybody.
Count Dooku origin series.
Or maybe not an origin for a particular legacy character, because we have enough of those already.
Do we need it? That's what Jethro's saying. Do we need it?
So just something different, something a bit more, you know. I mean, yes, we have Andor, which is essentially a prequel of a prequel. And on paper, I would have said it wouldn't have worked, but it has.
The thing about Andor, though, is it is the entire build-up, excuse me, the entire build-up that leads into the original 3 films, essentially.
Whereas the build-up to...
You've got Rogue One. Yeah,
you
got Rogue One, which is basically they've found out that there's plans to the Death Star, and they're going to go and find them, which I suspect that this is where they find out about it in Andor. They're going to lead up to that, and it's, oh, hang on, there's plans for the Death Star. Rogue One was about, we know there are plans, we're going to go and find them.
And do they go the other way? They do a series that's more focused on like outlaws and smugglers, maybe. Do more on that kind of side of the Star Wars universe.
You could jump back in and do Solo as a series, but I don't think there's a call
because
for
there's
that.
lots of those groups out there, isn't there? Like the smugglers and pirates and.
You could flip it and do something completely different, and you could do a series about a bit about the Empire. And we talked about how people don't realise that they're doing the wrong thing. That could be something to explore, but I just don't think that would work as a full series.
Oh, I think it will.
You think it would? Do you I think that's an interesting idea. So
Yeah.
you follow a group of people that are actually working for the Empire and believe they're doing the right thing.
Maybe
but
have
as the
something
series
like
progresses, they realise maybe they're not doing the right thing. But then you end up repeating Andor, then, don't you?
Maybe you do something like the thing they approached a little bit with John Boyega's character in the later Star Wars films, where they have somebody that was a stormtrooper.
7, 8, and 9.
That kind of
Finn
comes away from it. Finn, yeah. Maybe you have like one that's about a particular stormtrooper, and there's a story there as to either it goes one way and kind of all the Empire and all go, or maybe they're in a situation they're not happy with what they're having to do, like you said, and they're trying to get out of it. Maybe you could potentially do something like that.
And I can offer a critique and that of military propaganda, conscription, and the idea of if you're under the premise of just following orders, it's not a valid excuse. What does it mean to actually stand up for something?
You could have a series about 2 young people that grow up together. One ends up going into the Resistance. One ends up going toward work for the Empire as like an officer or something. That'd be interesting.
Because you don't really see in any of the Star Wars stuff like the people becoming stormtroopers or being recruited as stormtroopers or training or anything like that.
You don't, but that's mainly because they're clones.
Are they?
Well, a lot of them are. I don't think they started the new lot of stormtroopers till later on, because Finn was one of the new lot, wasn't he? I thought they were still clones at that point. They're all just clone troopers.
Maybe not even stormtrooper, but just someone working for the Empire in some sort of...
like an officer or something.
Capacity.
Interesting. I don't know. Maybe that's somewhere to go with it. I was thinking of something a bit darker.
Something along that vein. Something that challenges not just the characters, but the audience as well.
Or you concentrate on the Force a bit more, and you have like maybe somebody, you have to tell the story about somebody that's a Force sensitive and discovering the Force and learning how to live with it. We've kind of done that in every film,
because Luke does that, discovers it, learns it. Rey does that, discovers it, learns it.
Andor, I liked because it avoided that. Same reason why I like Mandalorian. It had that different perspective on the same world.
You think Star Wars, you think lightsabers, you think the Force, you think Yoda. It is nice and to have a series that's not based with those things as main ingredients, but I do like those things as main ingredients, I'm not going to lie.
I mean, obviously, if they still happen, I don't know what the latest is, but if they do new Star Wars films and they carry on the Rey Skywalker
Daisy
saga, she's
Ridley-
going to be obviously creating a new Jedi Order and training them.
Daisy Ridley's still saying that they're hopefully hoping to do something. She said recently again they're still hoping to do something. The original idea was to do 3 films set later on. I think that'd be interesting for the main reason is where it's completely unknown new charted territory. So nothing's. I don't know if there's anything written in like comics or lore, but as far as I'm aware, we're in a new period of time. So they've got a little bit more carte blanche to do some fun things with it. As long as they respect what's come before.
Yeah.
She can train a new set of Jedi, and you can have this new emerging threat. But then, do you then? And I can see into Jethro's mind. Do we need it? Are we going to just regurgitate what's already happened?
Do we need the second
Yes.
order?
Yes, knowing Disney. You know, if she trains a new set of Jedi, you're going to need some bad force to come in that they've got to overpower, or some
This is the
conflict
rise of the second order.
Yeah.
Then again,
the final order.
The final order.
Considering Andor is a prequel to Rogue One, which is a prequel
to
maybe Disney will do a prequel to Andor. I was like, we're going backwards.
Yeah, basically. Well, they did Acolyte and that didn't work.
Too far.
I say it didn't work. I think they focused too much on the wrong thing. They could have looked at the politics a lot more between the Jedi and the Republic, which clearly there was a bit of a strain there at that point, because the Jedi obviously were saying, "Oh, well, we can't tell the Republic that at the minute. We can't tell them anything about that because they'll think less of us, or we won't have as much power, or do you know what I mean?" So there was certainly a lot of politics there that they could have done a lot more with that they didn't. It was all just about the twins, which is fine. And I think I think that would have come into series 2 a lot more. I think they should have given it its 2 series, because we had Yoda, guest appearance of Yoda right at the end.
Yeah.
And I think once you start bringing Yoda in, you start to get a little bit more grounded in terms of your wisdom and logic. So that conflict between a younger Yoda maybe making mistakes, maybe.
That's another main character you could follow, isn't it, in a series?
But do we need a main
character?
Do we need to make anything? Do we need it?
Young Yoda.
I think...
Which they're kind of already doing with Mandalorian, really, a little bit, even though it isn't the same character, but it's same species.
I just hope that they're very careful not to spoil the magic of Yoda and the mystery. I don't think we should know what planet these people are from, what even they're called. I don't want to know what they're called. I think we need to be very careful not to ruin the mystery. The Doctor Who, there was always this mystery that what Gallifrey is like. He's a lone traveller on his own, and now it's just like, there could be multiple Doctors anywhere at any one point in the end of childhood.
There's hundreds of them. And
we know everything about regeneration and Time Lords. We know all of it now. You might as well just tell us the Doctor's name at this point. It's like...
Yeah, it's all out there anyway. One thing I was wondering, obviously we've had the material they put together for obviously Rogue One and Andor. Have we got any space between either New Hope and Empire Strikes Back, or Empire Strikes Back and Return of the Jedi, to have a series or a mini-series to set up those other 2 films?
I don't think you need it, because those films pretty much roll one into the other with a storyline that kind of makes sense.
But then again, if somebody suggested Rogue One a while back before it came out, people have probably said you don't need it.
Yeah, but that is an interesting idea though, because you start with let's find the plans. Well, how do they know about the plans? The Death Star is a massive thing, and it's pretty much built at that point. So during Andor Series 2, they're probably building it.
Yeah.
Right.
All they know is it's just not a moon.
That's no moon. So Rogue One was a nice idea. Because again, it was a film with no Jedi or anything like that.
Yeah.
But it was about rising up and trying to get this information to people that can do something with it for the greater good, and I think that's an interesting idea. Yeah, there was a lot of material to work with there. You could go after Jedi, but
I mean, we've kind of had Mandalorian
anyway,
is kind of between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens, isn't it?
I think we're just going to have to wait and see what happens.
Or do the Next Generation and have very little ties with what's come before and just set it 100 years in the future.
Which is what they're thinking to do with Rey, isn't it? Well, kind of.
Well, no, because
Kind of.
No, because it's with Rey.
Yeah, but I say that
No,
kind of.
no ties.
So just literally do a series
Just
based on
no legacy characters. Start from scratch. I know he's going to petrify the Disney executives, and they seem physically incapable of anything original. But
that's kind of what they did with Mandalorian, didn't they? It wasn't anybody that was already established, really, was it? And it worked.
Yes, which is why I respect the Mandalorian. Yeah, but an actual film or film series, just completely original, which I know won't happen under this current regime. But
it's an interesting idea because I kind of said it even if you did 3 more Rey films, you've almost got this blank slate to go where you want with it. Even if you do 100 years later, you've still got to respect what came first, and you can't change the law.
That said,
but you can make new stories and do new stuff.
There's other stories you could set between Return of the Jedi and Force Awakens. Mandalorian's set in that time, but there's no reason why you couldn't have all the characters or the places in the universe.
But the situation you're talking about puts us in the same situation we were in 10 years ago,
Yeah.
where they were like, oh, it's set afterwards. We could do anything. We just end up getting more of the same. I think we should not be complacent and just start trying to... Well, I mean, we don't have much control over what Disney does. I mean, I try to actively avoid getting Disney Plus because I refuse to give $1 billion corporation even more money. That's the last thing they need. They've got tons of it. They have enough.
If you've just joined us, it's Politics with the Geeky Guys.
How is that political?
I don't know, but there'll be politics somewhere.
Probably what they should do they should just do it. Let's do it all and just see what sticks. Give us loads of stuff to review.
You throw enough crap at a wall, something's going to stick.
Yeah, complain about the new Star Wars series. That is exactly the thing we said they shouldn't do.
Yeah, speaking of crap on the wall.
Well, look, I think we're going to wrap this up, guys. We've
Star Wars set in the Fortnite universe. That'd be interesting, wouldn't it?
Hey, yeah, we have Star Wars in Fortnite. Why not Fortnite in Star Wars?
Yeah.
When's the Fortnite film? That's what I want to know.
It'll happen.
It'll happen.
Yeah, the Minecraft
Netflix,
movie
you'll get
has
2 series and that's it.
The Minecraft movie, while terrible, was actually very, very popular. The biggest grossing opening weekend of any video game movie adaptation ever.
No.
Including Sonic. Interesting.
That's quite good.
So, it's only a matter of time.
Although coming out in the kids' holidays did help.
The only problem, though, Jethro, is Disney owned Fortnite. So it's going to be another Disney project.
Yeah, so it's not going to be anything original at all. Right. So it's just going to be more of the same.
And on that terrible disappointment. Okay, yes. Well, I think we're going to wrap up there.
Otherwise, we'll be here all night talking about possibilities and options.
Well, that's what we're going to do in a moment when the cameras and mics go off, I think. But thank you so much for watching and listening.
If indeed you still are.
If indeed you still are. We will, of course, be back next time, where I think... should we tell people what we're talking about next time? Should we
No.
give them a
Do we know the order?
Or should we not tell them?
How about they come in next time and find out?
Yes. We said that in stereo. Yes, you heard it first from Jethro. If you want to know what we're talking about next time, you'll have to come and find out.
Come on, watch it.
As always, don't forget to like and subscribe. Put us a comment if you think you've got a different opinion to us. And if you've got your Geeky Guys favourites answer to our clothing question, put that in there as well. Interesting to see what people think.
Absolutely.
You can find everything that we're doing through the links at geekyguys.co.uk, or find us on Facebook, Instagram, and so on. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.